He just missed a penalty. 10 minutes into a knockout stakes game, 38 years old, no pace left. Everyone in the stadium thinking the same thing. Has he finally run out of magic? 28 minutes later, he answers. And that goal doesn't just win the game. It rewrites World Cup history. This is the story of how a 39-year-old playing in Major League Soccer with his father sick back home just had the most statistically impossible World Cup run of his career at the exact age everyone said it was over. Let's rewind. Before a ball was even kicked in this tournament, the conversation about Messi wasn't about greatness. It was about decline. He hadn't even confirmed he was coming to this World Cup until the last possible moment. 38 years old, playing club football in the US, not Europe. Slower, less involved. The kind of player pundits describe as a shadow of himself. There was a human side too. Messi arrived in North America with his father back home dealing with a health scare. Not exactly the ideal build-up to what would become the defining stretch of his international career. So when Argentina kicked off their group stage against Algeria, the questions weren't, will he break records, but can he still do this at all? Within one game, that question was answered. And then some. Group opener, Algeria. Messi doesn't ease into the tournament, he detonates it. A hat trick. 3 goals in his 200th appearance for Argentina, 20 years to the exact date since his World Cup debut in Germany, where fittingly, he also scored. He was in tears after that first goal, because this wasn't just about football. This was a man carrying something heavier than a football match. At 38 years and 357 days old, Messi became the oldest player to ever score a hat trick at a World Cup, passing a record that belonged to Cristiano Ronaldo, oldest hat trick scorer in World Cup history. Let that sink in for a second. The 2 greatest players of this generation are still trading records with each other, in their late 30s, on the biggest stage in football. That hat trick also made him the highest-scoring South American in World Cup history, passing Brazilian legend Ronaldo's mark of 15, 1 game, 3 records challenged or broken. But Messi wasn't done. Not close. Group Game 2 against Austria. This is the one people will talk about for decades. Messi needed 1 goal to equal Miroslav Klose's all-time World Cup scoring record, a mark of 16 goals that had stood since 2014. Through an entire generation of the world's best strikers failing to touch it. And true to form, Messi almost got there the boring way, with a penalty kick. He missed it, wide. But greatness does not always take the easy route. 38 minutes in a flowing team move ends with the ball at Messi's feet 20 yards out. The goalkeeper is leaning the wrong way. He does not miss twice. Goal number 16 tied with Klose. Deep into stoppage time, Argentina counters again. Messi finishes through a crowd of defenders. Goal number 17, the record is his alone. Messi, 17 goals, most in World Cup history. 2 days before his 39th birthday with his father unwell, thousands of miles away, playing a position that is supposed to belong to players 10 years younger, Messi did not just equal history. He rewrote it twice in the same match. And here's the detail that makes this almost unbelievable. 12 of Messi's World Cup goals have come after his 35th birthday. Most players are retired by then. He's been building a second peak. He didn't stop at Austria either. He kept scoring into the knockout rounds, extending his own record to 8 consecutive World Cup matches with a goal, a streak no player in the history of the tournament has ever touched. Not Pele, not Maradona, not Ronaldo. Here's what makes this run different from every other chapter of Messi's career. This isn't a 25-year-old at the peak of his physical powers gliding past defenders. This is a 39-year-old who has lost a step, who isn't the fastest player on the pitch anymore, doing it through positioning, timing, and a football brain that simply refuses to decline. 20 goals now across 6 World Cups, 122 for his country overall. Records that belonged to legends Klose, Ronaldo, Marta, all now belong to him. And it's happening at the exact tournament where the conversation was about whether he even deserved a starting spot. This is the same player who once said walking away from the national team, after heartbreak in 2016, it's over. He came back and he won the trophy in 2022. And now, 3.5 years later, at an age where almost every great player in history has already retired from international football, he is still adding chapters nobody thought were possible. Argentina are still alive in this tournament. Messi is still on the pitch. And every time he touches the ball now, there's a quiet question following him around the stadium. How many more records does he have left in him? Nobody predicted this run, not at 39, not with everything happening off the pitch. But that's always been the story with Messi. The doubt comes first, and the history gets written after. The story isn't over yet. If you want to see it happen in real time, stick around. Because this run isn't finished.